Okay, right now we have Kaskade with us here tonight, or today, okay.
Okay, is it the first time you play in Macau?
In Macau, this is my very first time, the debut.
Okay, and you never played in Hong Kong before? Because I
Played
came from
in
Hong Kong.
I've played in Hong Kong before.
When was that?
I don't remember.
Okay, so did you?
I mean, I played 200 or 300 shows a year. I can't remember.
How many? 200?
200 or 300 shows. I've probably played 4,000 or 5,000 shows in my life.
Yeah, because last time I interviewed Tiga, he said he's around 200 something shows per year.
Yeah,
That's for
sure.
I mean, that's a
And
lot
that's
of
Tiga
work.
saying that. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. So as a family man, you have 3 daughters.
Yeah.
So how can you manage that? The 2 roles, the DJ persona
It's
and
very
then the
easy.
family man.
Easy. Just
Because
it out.
you've always been traveling around the globe.
Yeah. Yeah. You just do it. Make it happen.
So why don't you bring your daughters on the road?
Well, typically, like here in Macau, I'm only here for 12 hours, I think. 11,
Okay.
12 hours. I was in Seoul last night for 9 hours, and before that I was in Manila for 6 hours. So, I mean, it's impossible to travel with anyone on this schedule.
Okay. I just heard about your new single called Atmosphere.
Yes, new album entitled Atmosphere. That's the title track. Coming out in the fall, probably September, I think is the tentative. Yeah.
So it's going to be a full album.
Full album.
Okay. So what's the direction of this album?
You're gonna have to wait and see that. You're gonna have to hear it for yourself, and you'll tell me once you've heard it.
Okay. What kind of genre you're going for in this new album? Progressive house?
No, I'm not a big progressive house guy. My albums are more eclectic.
Okay.
I produce a little bit of progressive house over the years, but I'm from Chicago originally, so house has always been kind of my passion.
Okay.
But I always dabble and in other things. Just I'd be bored if I just did one, the same song every day.
Okay. You just said that you came from Chicago, but you study in Utah University.
Yeah, I lived in Utah for 7 years. I was born and raised in Chicago. Yeah.
Okay, so is there really a big, EDM dance music scene in Utah? Because to me, I've never been to Utah. I thought it's a very religious kind of state.
Yeah. I can't speak for now. I left there, 15 years ago, so it's hard to talk about what the current state of the scene in Utah is. But I think it's like many cities in America. I mean, obviously in America, New York, Miami, Chicago, LA, San Francisco are kind of the mainstays. But we have, America has 300 million people, so there's a lot of, cities like St. Louis and Salt Lake and Denver and, Orlando, Florida. There's a lot of other cities that have great smaller scenes, but still very passionate about the music.
Mm-hmm. As a man of faith, do you find that dance culture is not necessarily just about youth culture? It can be a very religious kind of experience too, for the body and for the soul.
Yeah, I just think music in general is something that connects people. Art, even. Whether you're painting or writing a song, it could be an outlet for expression. And that connects people.
Your musical direction is actually very versatile. But a few years back, like back in 2005, 2006, some say that Deadmau5, you and Wu-Gang were responsible for reviving the whole progressive house scene.
Deadmau5 did a lot. Listen, there was always a very strong scene in North America, but it just wasn't as available as it is now. And I think people like myself and Deadmau5 and Wolfgang brought a sound that was more accessible for more people. And I just think the timing was right.
Okay. Because right now, progressive house and electro are getting so popular and mainstream that it's like everyone's doing the same thing, and it's sounding a little bit, familiar in certain sense.
It's a little monotonous at the moment. I feel like most of the innovation is happening kind of in the deep house realm.
Yeah.
But I mean, everything goes in cycles, right?
Yeah, I know.
Things are constantly changing. So, I mean, it's deep house this week. Next week it could be, some other genre that's not even invented yet.
Okay. So according to you, what's going to be the next big thing?
The next big thing, I don't know. I would never wager to say. It's so hard. I think, but that's what's fascinating about this music. It moves and changes very quickly.
Okay.
And that's why I enjoy it. But yeah, I'd never.
Will techno be coming back?
I don't think techno ever left.
Right.
Techno's it's like house and techno are kind of the spine of what this whole thing is. You've got that main thing, and then all these things branch off of it. I mean, guys like Doubtfire and Carl Cox are still, even though they've been around for a very long time, they're still very innovative. So I feel like, it could become more popular. I don't know, it's hard to say.
Okay. You've been around for a long time too. As an American DJ, have you ever, expected that, EDM could be this big, this mainstream in America in particular?
No, I did not.
Is it a good thing? I mean, to the whole dance culture?
I think
of course, a lot of money come in. But
yeah, I think it's too early to tell to see how it's gonna actually affect the scene. There's a lot of good things, the obvious things. The influx of money has made it very easy for people like myself to pursue the art and take more time to be creative, which is great. But there's a downside to it because everybody's into it right now. Like, are they still going to be into it next week? Yeah. So it's a little scary. But I mean, with good comes bad, and bad good. So we'll see what happens. It's too early. I mean, we're really in the midst of what's happening right now. So it's hard to tell.
Okay, you're not just a DJ. You're also a producer and a stand-up producer yourself. But spend so much time traveling and performing and DJing. How can you manage to have more time in the studio to produce stuff?
It's
200 something shows per year.
I mean, it's crazy. It's really just a balancing act and figuring out what's important. I mean, to me, I have to have that time to write and produce music, or else it's useless to be out in the club. And I can't just sit in the studio because then I don't know what works when I'm DJing. So it's finding that balance. I don't know, I'd say these last 2 months I've erred on the side of playing too many shows, but I mean, I'm constantly adjusting that.
Okay. Do you have to, do a lot of producing work on the road using your laptop instead of,
a little bit.
spending your time in the studio?
I prefer to do it in the studio. The laptop, I mean, like this weekend has been so insane with the international travel. I've done a little bit of work on my laptop, maybe an hour or two on the flight coming in here. But I'm so exhausted, I find it difficult to focus. I prefer to go into a room and have time. But that's a challenge, On this last album, there's songs that were conceived on the road and made in a hotel room.
Okay. When you first started, you played vinyls, right?
Yeah, of course.
Back when, in the 90s?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you still play vinyls now and then? No. Okay. What kind of DJ gears do you use now?
The CDJ, just the Pioneer. Go with the SD card, put it in there.
Okay. There are a lot of fancy and different models of controllers coming out. Are you into those kind of gears? Little gadgets?
Nah, not really. Just because
You're still a CDJ guy.
I'm still a CDJ guy because that's the closest thing to vinyl. I mean, I still prefer vinyls the best. Next would be the CD player. So it's still the closest thing to what it used to be, and it feels natural to me.
Okay.
When you get those other things, it's
I know.
Yeah, it doesn't feel the same.
Okay. When you play a set, can you pick one track you always have it with you when even when the dance floor is very dead? It's gonna be a lifesaver. What's that song gonna be?
Oh man, it's changing all the time.
Like today?
Today, what would that song be?
I remember.
Maybe. That's a good one to end on. I remember.
Yeah,
People like that song. It's kind of a class. I've closed many shows with that. Remember.
Yeah,
yes.
But it sounds like a closing kind of song.
Because
it's very melancholy.
Yes, it's kind of a chilled out tune.